Hey guys, it's Godbars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 197th episode of my series, where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it has, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So it's been a while since I had the legendary duo of Guru and DJ Premier on the channel. In fact, I believe it was my first set of 90s classics that I covered these guys on, where I discussed the album I consider to be their magnum opus, 1998's Moment of Truth, though 1994's Hard to Earn takes a pretty close second place spot. I was considering doing the debut GameStar LP, 1989's No More Mr. Nice Guy, but while that's definitely an essential listen for any hip hop head, I opted to discuss their second album, since that's when they really started to come into their own iconic, game changing sound. Step in the Arena is kind of an interesting case in terms of when it dropped, because you'll often see the year vary depending what source you're looking at, and that's because it was printed as a 1990 release, but wasn't commercially distributed until 1991. This was really just the beginning of the unprecedented run these guys would have throughout the entire decade, with more classic projects down the line, and even successful solo endeavors on the side like Guru's Jazzmatazz series. They also directly assisted numerous up-and-coming talents through their Gangstar Foundation, a collective comprised of numerous legendary acts like MOP, Jeru the Damaja, or Group Home, just to name a few. Step in the Arena was the first album that really saw Premier take the reins as a producer, and not just a DJ who helped with making beats. And boy, did that pay off, because even if this album didn't help lay the groundwork for 90s boom bap, which it definitely did, it still would be packed with forward thinking, memorable sample flips and loops. With nearly 20 tracks and over 45 minutes of material, and not one dud amongst the entire thing, in my opinion. However, that can't just be attributed to the infectious, creative, and sometimes even experimental beats, because of course we have to give a tip of the hat to the late legend Guru, who was kind of in a similar position to Premier at the time. He was really learning how to utilize his iconic, silky smooth vocal tone, but as much as I love that aspect of Guru, I feel like he sometimes gets downplayed as a lyricist because his voice was so attention-grabbing. While I agree that his stock as a lyricist dropped the further we got into the decade, that's only because the game advanced at such a rapid speed, and also his style never really called for fast-paced, flashy, or dense flows. At this point in his career, though, I feel like Guru was working towards his lyrical peak, as he's just giving us gem after gem on here and delivering them in a way that only he could. A couple of great examples that show the consistency of dope rhymes all across the sophomore LP from Gangstar here fittingly comes on the title track that practically starts the album off, and the killer closing track titled The Meaning of a Name. The lines I want to share from the former come when Guru raps, "Victorious, glorious, understand now? 'Cause battles and wars and much fights I have been through. One MC got beheaded, and you can too. Forget it, 'cause you'd rather be just a spectator, or onlooker, afraid you may get slayed or struck by a blow from the might gladiator. I bet you that later you might be sad that you played yourself. 'Cause you stepped up, chest puffed out, and in just one lyric you got snuffed out. 'Cause rhyming is serious. I'm strong, I'm like Hercules. You'll get hurt with these lines. Close the curtains, please. And suckers can jet, 'cause I wreck once you step in my arena." The other killer section of bars I want to share comes from the previously mentioned closing track, where Guru gives us a clear and concise definition of not just the album's MO, but the entire end goal of Gangstar as a duo. He says, "The meaning of the name Gangstar, well, I'll tell you, it means how far my mind can excel to a greater type of thought, brought by the things I've been taught in relation to things that I rebelled to. Divine and combined with a sense of confidence, accomplishments are achieved on floppy disk. But sloppiness, I could never tolerate it. Not the Guru nor Premier, you don't know how long we've waited. While other rappers have faded, just like haircuts, we use sheer guts to open your ear ducts of your brain to expose every vein, 'cause you sound plain, insane, and mundane. It's a shame. You've got no beats, so you get no seats at this table. You ain't stable with the mic cable. Cain and Abel, jealous brothers. And I knew some girls who were overzealous lovers. But back to the act of developing the game Star track. It means that nothing can be whack. The music is picked right, the mic is gripped tight. The lyrics I kick right to a beat like kryptonite. Power not withstood by any mortal or immortal to make you get on the floor till another dope jam we slam with precision, bringing beams of light like the colors in a prism, or reflections through a spectrum. And all the soft silly suckers, I'm a wet them. In other words, destroy boy and then claim my fame, and this is the meaning of the name. I could praise this entire album all day, but luckily enough, other platforms and artists out there have helped promote and keep the legacy of this pretty much flawless LP alive. And even though it isn't necessarily a music platform first and foremost, I thought it was still worth mentioning that IGN actually named it the single greatest hip-hop album of all time on a list back in 2007. There's not really any guest appearances or even outside producers brought in to assist for Step in the Arena, which means I can go right into my honorable mentions, which were even tougher than usual for this one. But after some deliberation, I eventually landed on Form of Intellect, Take a Rest, Street Ministry, Execution of a Chump, or No More Mr. Nice Guy Part 2, Who's Gonna Take the Weight, Beyond Comprehension, Here Today, Gone Tomorrow, As I Read My S.A., Say Your Prayers, and What You Want This Time. As for my top 3 favorite tracks overall, I would have to go with Check the Technique, Just to Get a Rep, and Lovesick. Thank you for watching my 197th video. Next up, we have the one pick from this small set of 80s classics that's from the West Coast. So look for that one, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite moments from this genre-shifting release are. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Bet.
Who would do such a thing? Look, I stand in the flame of a feeling we call pain. Father's Day mug, little hand shaped in clay. Carrier planes flew overhead in pockets.